Hi guys, so don't mind the boxes behind me. Some of you may know we've just moved, so still unpacking a lot of our life. But I wanted to hop on here because I've been having some thoughts and things about grief and family, because I have had some friends recently lose their mom as well, and it's a hard place and thing to navigate as someone who's young. Most people think you lose your mom or like a significant parent figure, when you're older, like when you're like in your 60s and they're in like their 90s or 80s, not when they're in their 60s and you're in your 20s or 30s. It's a jarring thing, and it's something sometimes it's hard to relate to our peers about grief and navigating it as a young person, because you're supposed to be cheerful and full of life, and most days it feels like you're just trying to catch your breath and you're just trying to make things make sense when they no longer do. And that's the hard part, unfortunately. I think it came to me last night, like it feels like, especially after the funeral and everyone goes home, it feels like you are sitting there with the pieces of your heart outside of your body and you're holding it and you're just trying to figure out how to breathe again. And everyone else goes back home, their lives go on, they're not missing your person the same way you miss your person. And then at times, depending on your family dynamic, you can feel very much forgotten. For me, I feel like that my family is fractured. It has always felt fractured to me, because like before losing my grandmother, we lost some of the people that were those anchor people, those anchor beings in our universe of family. And then losing my grandmother felt like the nail in the proverbial coffin that it's not fixable. And then it got worse, for me at least, losing my mom, because I feel like so many people knew her fears, and that me being alone was one of her fears, because she knew my dad wasn't a reliable emotional source, wasn't a reliable financial source, wasn't reliable, and didn't really understand me as a person. And she knew that, and she had those fears, and she's also expressed those fears to some of her close friends and family members. And the thing that I guess takes me out of sadness and then into anger is that those people either follow me or see me on like social media, or like have my number, have my information, and the only time I actually hear from them sometimes is not helpful. It's like not helpful at all. It's more like condemning, like calling me to tell me to not sell my mom's house when I literally don't make the same amount of money my mom ever did in life. I don't have the same amount of education as my mother, unfortunately. I am smart, but I do not have a bachelor's right now. So therefore, me being able to afford the mortgage my mom was able to hold down for much longer, and then telling me about like all the things she may have hidden from me after she's been dead for 2 years and I haven't heard or seen anything about you since her funeral, is a low blow and very much a stab and not helpful. Like I had to sell because I couldn't keep up with the payments. I am one person and a young person without a bachelor's. And yes, I have certifications and job experience, but I'm also a person with disabilities, barely making it through, also within this administration. So I am surviving the best that I can, and calling me to rain down judgment and offer your 2 cents instead of actual cents, because that would have been helpful, or like anything else would have been helpful. It's hard. It's hard because like, it's like, where was all this 6 months after the funeral or a year after the funeral? That's like even 2 years now. I would love to be able to talk with people about my mom's memories, stories about her, hear things that they've experienced. Because I mean, I found some things when we were moving that show my mom in a completely different light, in a joyous light, and there's no one to share that with. Like, I can't ask my dad. Like, my stepmom literally just gave me every picture of myself that was ever in my house that my grandma had kept. She basically threw that at me. That's not allowed in their house anymore since my grandma's not alive. So that's a thing that I'm like, no one. Grief is something that's really hard to manage and really hard to navigate. But I feel like when you're younger, people expect you to bounce back from it quicker. And I feel like it's also harder because our communities are so different. Like, I'm grateful for everyone who's helped me. That's been family. That's been my community. That's been my family through all of this. Like, from the day she passed to my friends that were there in the hospital with me. Like, I literally would have not made it. And then if you factor that, and then you factor losing my best friend, like losing my mom hit, and then losing the fur companion that I've had all of, like, through my mom. My mom didn't want that cat, but that cat wanted to be loved by my mom and was very much loved, and been with me through the last 10 years. Losing her was another gut punch, and that gut punch happened literally directly after losing my grandmother, who was the only other blood relative that I had that I knew for sure loved me unconditionally and without question. So when people ask me, like, why didn't you do more to keep the house, or why aren't you, like, acting a certain way? Well, one, I'm not my mother. My mom was very peacekeepy, and she'll grin and bear it and open her house to people who she probably should have not let through the front door sometimes. Because it feels like sometimes you don't want to actually check up and see and make sure someone's doing okay. More so you want to just be in the business, to know what's going on. Because yes, you can help a couple times, but like, I personally feel like sometimes it's not even like an obligation to people to check up on me, or like, I really have to crash out real hard before anyone calls me to ask if I'm okay. That's not like in my immediate circle that I picked of my chosen family. But I will say, I feel like it's more so like a keeping up with the Joneses situation, where like, if anything were to happen, then you can say, oh, that poor girl lost her mom and everything, and this was inevitable or whatnot. It's not inevitable. If half of the community care that I have gotten from my actual community came from people that were supposed to give me care, it could have been monumental. Who knows, we could have kept the house. But now we will never know. So, we just keep moving forward with the cards we are given, and be grateful for every moment then on. But I do plan to operate my life accordingly. I'm not keeping silent to keep peace. These are my actual feelings because this is my actual life. And I think that's worth all the tea that people think they're getting poured.